is a presentation of the iRacing eSports Network.
It took a new face to stop Ben Perez's domination in the American iRacing Tuesday series. Jesper Terlicka jumped into the pool with the biggest splash possible by winning the crown in his rookie season. But every new season provides that much-needed reset as all the points return to zero. Some major players fell by the wayside last season, so now is an excellent opportunity to return to the forefront. We'll see who turns over a new leaf as we get ready to watch round one of the Precision Racing League's American iRacing Tuesday series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Taylor Burris. Behind the scenes is our director Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Taylor, with us starting things off at Imola, it certainly makes qualifying important right off the bat. Tell our viewers a little bit about this tactical and storied circuit.
Of course, and welcome everyone to Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari, or Imola. Located in Imola, Italy, this 3-mile or 4.9-kilometer 17-turn course is by far a crown jewel in Italy. About 2.5 hours south of the famous track of Monza, Imola, though, has provided excellent forms of motorsports, whether it be Formula One or GT sports car racing. To give you, the fan, the opportunity to see what it is like to master this, let us hop on board with the GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Taylor Burris in the GSRC 4GT, so let's do a lap around Imola. The run down to Tamburello provides one of the best opportunities to overtake, but you gotta watch out for the braking because of the way the track jinks to the left. Also, keep in mind that this chicane has 3 apexes, and even though the last one is flat out, you don't want to pinch yourself too shallow entering it. Then there's a short burst to Villeneuve. Passes are a lot trickier here because the first half is rather quick. It's not uncommon to see drivers wind up in the gravel to the left because they carry too much speed. After that, there's almost no time before Tosa, but you do still see sneak attacks that are actually successful at this hairpin. The important part will be squaring it off for the best launch up the hill. Carrying momentum is important with how steep of a climb it is up to Piratella. Bring it across the track at the blind crest and then get on the binders. This left-hander is surprisingly tricky to get the car down to the apex, and every car I've ever driven here has experienced bad understeer. Then you'll switch sides yet again and line up for Acqua Minerale. This is one of the toughest corners on the track if you ask me. You're braking and turning on the first half and then have to be ultra careful not to go wide at the exit of the second half. Once again, we climb out of the valley and head towards another good chance for a pass, the Alta Chicane. The big thing here is you don't want to be too wide because it's narrow and the curbs are very tall. You're bound to see a few altercations throughout the day at this part. Finally, we head back downhill one last time. The run to Ravazza involves a curved entry, but what really deceives drivers is the drop in elevation under braking. It's stupid easy to outbrake yourself, and this is where I've seen the most locked up wheels during the lap. The second apex also plays a critical role because of the exit onto the front stretch. It's the longest acceleration zone of the track, so you really don't want to leave yourself vulnerable. The rest of the lap might be follow the leader, but this is where the side-by-side action really erupts. However, if you've kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Imola. You see a lap around Imola from the driver's perspective. Now, we'll see plenty of drivers working their way around here, and as they do during qualifying, we've got a little bit of time to bring you up to speed on last season's results. I already mentioned it in the pre-race there, but in case you missed it, Jesper Drlica, of course, came away with all of it. It wasn't Ben Perez that he was fighting as hard. It was Karl Modhoff who was fighting him all the way. Only 11 points between them at the end. Perez did finish in third, you can see there, but he didn't have a single win last season. A big disappointment to him. He even said so himself. William Whalen raced pretty well, but he wound up in fourth. And then Christian Eisler, the only other driver to win all season long, besides Drlica and Modhoff, wound up in fifth, just scarcely behind Whalen in the end. And what about the team's championship? The drivers find those just as important, Taylor. So how did it wind up?
Well, it wound up pretty good for Christian Eisler and Ben Perez. They were able to take home the championship for the team standings, with Team Bushfink Racing with an enormous lead from the Andes iRacing Puma team with Takeshi Kita and Lucio Vargas. However, Team HJ Motorsports was almost tied for third position with Team Tortuga, as those teams did quite well throughout the season, with Tortuga being as part of Drlica's team. And then the SDS Racing with the Carini as well as Sorelli also rounded out the top five. But we're in a new season, so it's time to reset the points and get it all started over again.
Absolutely. And of course, if you've never watched this series before, which could be the case, now's a good time to get into it. Let's go over the race details of what we have in store for today. Of course, this is round one, as we mentioned. It is the Porsche 911 RSR, the Ferrari 488, and the Ford GT that they are running out there. This is three different makes within what is GTE class racing. So what you see at Le Mans, basically. The race distance, only 45 minutes. Now, even though these cars can go longer in real life, they have one pit stop that you can expect, one scheduled stop. They've limited the fuel compared to the real fuel tanks. The setups are open, though, so that they can change the car to their liking, and they do have an incident cap of 30, and that means that if they have any off spins, run into another car or the wall, they get enough of those, they will be disqualified as soon as they hit 30 of those incident points. They have no fast repairs either, which is going to be important if you get any damage to the car, which can be easy around this track, especially with those tall sausage curbs in a few places around. So drivers will have to watch out. Taylor, though, besides avoiding the sausage curbs, what are some of the keys to the race today that will allow them to win?
Well, one of the biggest keys will have to be definitely turn one, Tamburello. We've seen time and time again in multiple series, even including in this one, how major incidents can happen on turn one, lap one at the start of the race. So drivers are going to need to be cautious and focused to make sure that they get through Tamburello really cautiously, but yet successful enough to where they can make it good ground on the start of the race. Another good strategy is fuel strategy. Drivers are going to make sure when to come in as soon as possible or as late as possible to make sure that they get enough time in front of their competition for tonight's race. And then finally, of course, it's a new season. It's a season opener. Drivers are going to have to make sure that they put their mark on tonight, because one race could cost you for the entire season due to the fact this is an 8-round. So it's going to be a little bit shorter compared to previous seasons. So drivers are going to have to get every point that they possibly can here tonight.
We'll look forward to see who the major players wind up being, because it has shuffled around a little bit since we're missing a few drivers not returning, and we've got a few new faces in here. Now, we are very proud to be on the iRacing eSports Network tonight. So those of you tuning in for the first time, because before it was on just the GSRC, of course, we welcome you. And if you want more action like this, please click that big red button that says subscribe. so that you don't miss a moment here on the IESN. All kinds of racing here. Dirt, oval, road, you name it, they've got it. Just about 6 minutes left, of course, here. And this race was brought to you by the SIMMSA, Simulation Motorsports Association. It's a sim racing platform created by experienced racers, established in 2015. The association is bringing together organizations and communities to further promote sim racing globally. Concentrating on all sims worldwide, they offer a focused opportunity for sim racers to compete with each other. They also provide consultancy services to this growing esports world. SimMSA offers solutions for racing simulator requirements, custom-built simulator parts, complete customization, and upgrading of existing simulators. You can find them at SIMMSA.net. Big thank you to them for coming back for another season here, of course, and bringing us all the action here in the PRL. Now that we've got all that stuff out of the way, we've still got 5 minutes, amazingly, left in our qualifying. And up at the top, boy, this bodes well for Karl Modoff, who just missed out on the championship. Taylor, he is on the pole for the moment, but it is tight between himself and Eisler.
Yes, indeed it is. Eisler looking for redemption after a pretty decent season, but compared to previous seasons before, not the best season that Eisler was looking for. Modoff, of course, is also looking for redemption after finishing second. And of course, the last time we were here last season, this is where we saw Karl Modoff take flight here at Imola. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on those two. And of course, Federico Montini, always fast here tonight. Looking forward to seeing how well that number 5 Ferrari does here tonight.
Yep, Eisler missed out on a few seasons earlier when he was facing off with Ben Perez, who still hasn't shown his face here tonight. I believe he was one of the ones that said he won't be returning, though, this season, unfortunately, due to some other obligations as Modoff comes across the line another time. Let's see if this one improves on his lap. In fact, it does not count for him. Christian Eisler, on the other hand, is actually just about to finish his lap, and he's right behind one of his teammates, Corey Ott, also another Busch Fink driver out there ahead of him. I mean, is it possible to gain some time to use the slipstream effect around this track?
Yeah, there's a couple of small straightaways that you can utilize a little bit of slipstream to gain that little small extra tenth or so to help you on the straights, but really the draft will not be as major of an effect as compared to other tracks like we'll be going to later this season.
And we keep catching drivers who are not on a hot lap, except for Corey Ott. Corey Ott actually just took the pole. It was the driver just ahead of Eisler. So despite not getting the slipstream of his teammate, the number 9 has overtaken Karl Modoff. And once again, it is within a tenth. In fact, it is 1/100th of a second separating the number 9 and the number 48.
Corey Ott did a really good job as we go back to Karl Modoff, the West Club driver. He's now coming out of the final curves right now, heading towards Ravazza. A little bit of traffic, though, in front of him. That might cause a little bit of issues and slow him down just a tad if he's not careful. So let's follow along with him, see what he's able to do.
Yeah, and those guys were backing those corners up. Normally, I would think they would be taking off, but it looks like now that they saw Karl was coming up behind them, they've accelerated a little bit more as Karl crosses the line. This one is his fastest, and it does take back the pole by 2/10. He comes back with a vengeance.
Yes, indeed. Excellent lap time by Karl Modoff, a 1:38.04. Impressive.
Eisler's coming around off of Ravazza right now. He's got 2/10 to improve. Not sure if he's aware of how much of a gap Modoff has pulled on him now. Let's see what he's got as he crosses the line. He's starting to run out of laps to try and improve. A 1:38.1 is enough to get him into second, but not enough to overtake Modoff. So he is going to get one more lap, possibly 2 more laps, to try and get by Karl.
Federico Montini, now one of the drivers we'll be keeping an eye, the Hispano-America Club driver. He's now making his way towards the Aquia Mineral as I'm coming down through there. He got a little bit of traffic. Ooh, he cut the course.
Aqua Minerale did not treat him well. Federico, unfortunately, had a big moment coming into the second apex there. Now, thankfully, he's able to keep going, so he should get another lap. Let's see what James Dezube, and looks like he is actually done with his qualifying. Peterson, on the other hand, currently within the top 10 right now. He's heading towards Tosa and coming up the hill, so this will be his last lap.
Yeah, Leif Peterson was actually still in Italy recovering from last night as he was running in the series at Monza that we covered and did a real good job there. So let's see what he can do here.
Actually, we might want to switch over to Eisler because this is not his last chance. He is going to get to the line. He's coming out of Lavazza, but you have to wonder how worn out those tires are now that he's... Oh, and he's giving it up. Christian Eisler is going to settle for the front row at best. Interesting. Looks like Corey Ott is on a good lap right now as he comes towards Alta. And report that Francisco Montini is on his final lap. He did not improve from 5th, so we stay with Ott. There might have been an off there. I'm not sure if they are allowed to go that far wide and still count the lap. You can see the checkered flag now coming out. Can report that Modov has abandoned his lap. As we watch Ott, Cristobal Valenzuela is finishing his. He's in 14th. And looks like Ott's going to abandon that lap. What about Montini? Where is he? Federico is currently ahead of the 06 of Francisco. So Federico going to be the first to cross the line here from 4th. Let's see if he can improve on that 138.4. He's done with it too. Wow, a lot of drivers not interested in trying to improve or don't think that they can improve. I think the next one to cross is Jean-Marc Tremblay, the number 927, currently running in his Porsche in 13th in qualifying. Not bad considering the large field we have out here. 33 cars are going to be taking to the track, it looks like, here today, which is a decent turnout for this league.
Yeah, very good to see what the...
Even he's not going to go. Can we get anybody finishing a lap here, Taylor? Sorry.
I don't think so. Oh, here goes Justin Hall now, the Florida native. He's coming out towards Aqua Mineral. He does have enough time to possibly make it. As long as he cut the course right there.
Yeah, he cut that awful close. We are going to get a driver who's going to complete the lap. Andrew Spicer is coming through right now. He's only had one timed lap, actually, so can this one improve? Looks like no, it cannot. It will be no better than 32nd. Now I think Justin Hall... Boy, you can get a good sense of how steep it is dropping down into Ravazza. These last two apexes. Has to have a little bit of a correction there on the first one. A little bit smoother through the second. Is he going to complete the lap? He will. His best with the last time by at 139.6, sitting in 15th. Let's see what he's got underneath him. And not going to be any better. So with that, that is our grid. Let's go through our starting order. Karl Modov is going to be on the pole with Christian Eisler competing with him in second place. Corey Ott will start from third with Federico Montini starting P4. The fellow Montini Francisco starts from fifth. Simon Avital in P6 with Mike Griffith starting in seventh. He'll be flanked by Lyndon Swaby starting P8. James Dezube will start in ninth, and rounding out our top 10 will be Alex Crawford.
Starting in the 11th position will be Thomas Ellison, followed by Leif Peterson in the 12th position. Jean-Marc Tremblay will start in 13th, followed by Cristobal Valenzuela in 14th. Justin Hall will start in the 15th position, followed by Rodrigo Munoz in 16th. Elijah Batista will start in 17th position, followed by Michael Turby in 18th position. Aaron Thacker will start in the 19th position, followed by James Laban in the 007.
Takeshi Kita will be P21 at the start, with Carl Schwing starting 22nd. Lucio Vargas will be behind him in 23rd. Then in 24th, it's Corey Clark with Karsten Quint starting in P25. Curlin Andrew starts 26. At the drop of the green, 27th belongs to Danny Duchesne with Hugo Galaz starting 28th and Sebastian Maciera starting 29th. Then it's Niklas Schmeg in P30. Jeff Jacobson starts 31st and Andrew Spicer 32nd. Jerome Bertom starts in the final spot on the grid with the slowest time of qualifying. Everybody managed to get qualifying times in, and we're waiting for the last of them to grid up before we get just a tiny little warm-up lap, and then we go green for 45 minutes here in round one for the American iRacing Tuesday Series. And I have to admit, Taylor, I am very, very happy that iRacing has elected to bring this series onto the iRacing eSports network. Because, man, last season saw some stunning races and a really exciting championship. So I think our viewers who are just joining us for the first time are in for a treat.
Yes, indeed. Even though we do not have our favorites such as Drilica or Perez, we still have some very good competitive drivers who will want to take the championship and take over the crown after we've seen Drilica and Perez go so strong. But I'm looking forward to this season. It's a great day here at Imola. Let's go sports car racing here tonight.
You can see them stacking up, waiting patiently, coming out of Ravazza. And Karl Modov accelerates away as he gets the green flag. We go racing now for round one in the American iRacing Tuesday Series. Drivers getting very, very spread out up at the top of the field early on. The closest side-by-side battle we've got is way, way down the order, but they're going to accordion back together as they get into Tamburello. Bit of action between the likes of Ellison and DeZube, but otherwise, it's looking relatively clean through that first chicane. Good news for everybody.
Yes, very clean right now as they're now making their way through the Vietnamese chicanes. Coming out through there, no problem at all. You got to be careful not going out too far and washing up. Now setting up for Tosa for some of these drivers. There's a couple of battles going on in the back of the pack. Coffer gets a little bit wide now. Going to lose a couple of positions, but still tries to hold on.
Yeah, a little bit of a bad exit from Christian Eisler out of Tosa. You can see the time that cost him up to the green and white car of Modov. He returns in his Porsche, and Eisler sticks around in the Ferrari this season. Corey Ott, in fact, already challenging for that second place now as they come out of Aqua Minerale up towards Alta.
Yes, indeed. Karl Modov, the only Porsche currently leading a train of Ferraris here at Imola. It is still going to be Karl Modov holding on, with it still Eisler, Ott, and Montini following right behind, with both the Montini brothers running out the top five.
Very appropriate to have so many Ferraris up towards the front. We see a car
Francisco
now.
Francisco had a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It looked like, and he's still having to serve it with it being the first lap. Cars streaming around the outside. Griffith, Swaby, DeZube, Ellison all go by, and now even more as he is having to give up chunks of time.
That is something you do not want to have. The good news is it is on lap one, but from 5th position down to 12th, now having a battle with Leif Peterson as they make their way towards Tamburello. They're side by side. Still holding strong. Leif Peterson has the outside line. Montini's the inside, able to hold off Peterson's charge as they're coming out of Tamburello towards the Villeneuve chicanes.
Stop the bleeding there. Just ahead of them, but good battle happening between DeZube and Ellison. Ellison's going to come out on top, holding on in 8th. To come up to Tosa now, and look at DeZube just riding right in the tire tracks as we look back from Ellison. Following him up the hill towards Piratella. Not going to get an opportunity. You got to be pretty close in these GTE cars to try and make a pass. And it looks like that one not quite going to work.
Nope, not at all. He's not close enough at all to make an attack right now. I think he's going to just try to follow suit right now. Ooh, as he overshoots Aqua Minerale. Now that's going to cost him some time. He's got a cut course penalty by the looks of it.
Ooh, things are getting tight, though, for that second place. They may be teammates, but it seems like there's no team orders because Corey Ott has been applying immense pressure on Christian Eisler. As they come down to Ravazza one more time, they have been steadily losing a gap up to Modov. Now, it's not significant. It's just a little over a second for now. But with a good run off the corner, if these two go side by side, that gap could grow. Look at this. Here he goes.
Yes, indeed. Corey Ott going to look to the inside. Now they're going to be side by side as they make their way to Tamburello. It looks like Eisler might have gave way. Not a good idea to go through Tamburello side by side, especially if it's your teammate that you're going to be going side by side. Last thing you would want to happen is contact between you two.
Ooh, did Peterson have a problem here?
Ooh, we have a spin. Justin Hall spinning out, hitting one of the sausage curbs there at Tamburello.
We caught him there just at the start of his incident. Let's watch it one more time. Yeah, now we're after he has that second incident. It looks like he just simply outbraked himself. And I talked about those large pills of sausage curbs. It seems like that's what upset him.
Yeah, looks more like upset it with it, but unable to keep control of the car, was cut through the grass, and then coming back onto course, he was still not able to keep control of his car, spun it around just again and made contact with Hugo Galaz in that Porsche. As you can see, Hugo was able to continue.
Just had a big problem with Swaby, and I think that upset another car in a separate incident. Swaby, is this on his own? Yep. So Swaby's completely separate here as, well, Swaby's is the second apex. For Schwing, it's the first apex. There you see Swaby getting the blue and white Porsche turned back around, racing for Kinetic. And couldn't see it from that angle, but Carl Schwing on his way in lost the rear and spun offline. Didn't hit anybody, neither of them, and they both got back to racing. So his return back to the leaders. Modoff up ahead. He hasn't extended his gap since I last looked. It's still holding at 1.3 over Ott. Eisler, though, starting to drop back from his teammate. It looks like that switch might have been a good thing for these two, because now Corey can go off to try and chase down number 48.
Yeah, looking at the lap times right now, Modoff ran a 38.5 as Corey Ott ran a 38.47. So that might have been a good call for the two Bushfink drivers to switch positions and help close the gap.
And some big action there. Who is that trying to catch the car? That is Karsten Quint, who had to gather it together, getting on the power coming off of Tosa. That was as he was trying to follow the side-by-side action between LeBlanc and Peterson. He got into the side of LeBlanc, it looks like, trying to take advantage of it. I'm guessing that LeBlanc just didn't know that he was going to be there.
It didn't look like either. Didn't look to the spotter quite too well by the looks of it. And Karsten Quint did not avoid that incident.
Yeah, he slots down into 23rd since then. Sorry to jump our director around, but we got action between 6th and 7th. Mike Griffith just pulled an excellent move over at Dzube, and that is not over, because look at this. Not only is Dzube back on the attack, but he's bringing Thomas Ellison with him. Could we see 3 wide? Nope, looks like Ellison thinks better of it. Backs out, watches how these two are going to sort it out up into Tamburello. Griffith going to hold on, but only just. Trying to swing around the outside of him. James Dzube looks if he can get the spot back, but he can't gun it off the corner. Now Ellison gets his opportunity, coming the long way around into Villeneuve, but it switches back in his favor on the second apex. They bang doors, and they try to hold it together. Ellison still having to work the long way around as they come to Tosa now. Chops him off at the apex, and now he's got it done. It was 3 apexes in the making, but what a move.
Yes, indeed, and with that brings in Jean-Marc Tremblay as well as Francisco Montini. So we now have 4 cars battling it out for this position. Jean-Marc gets right on the back bumper of Dzube, out of Piratella down to Aqua Minerale. Still nose to tail as they're coming up. Gotta be careful not to cut the course through here. Montini gets late on the brake, get right on the back bumper of Tremblay as they're coming out of Aqua Minerale down towards the Alta chicanes.
And this is all great news from Mike Griffith, who you can see pulling away from this pack of cars. Ellison gets himself a little bit of breathing room on Dzube since then, so those two pull away from Tremblay and Montini. Again, Montini on a recovery drive here. He's taking a little bit of a look on his way down into Ravazza, but can't quite make it stick.
No, and Alexander Crawford's coming into the picture right now. He's right behind in that blue and yellow Ferrari. As we're riding on board with Crawford right now, down the front straightaway they go. There he is, right there in front of Montini, in front of him right now. As you're going to utilize a little bit of slipstream, you see Montini now look to the inside of Tremblay as they're making their way down towards the first chains right now, and he makes the pass.
There you see the difference between Montini and Tremblay. Just made him look like he was standing still, but Jean-Marc is not out of the woods. Here comes Alex Crawford, seeing if he can take advantage. Looks like with the limited passing opportunities into Villeneuve, we'll have to wait for another chance. Sometimes sneak attacks happen in Atosa, but it won't be this lap. Let's see if he can square off the exit, give himself a run up the hill.
A little bit difficult to get a good draft up here because you are going uphill, so you have to be careful. Try to see if you can maybe set a pass up through Pilartella as you're now making your way down Acqua Minerale. You have to be so careful though, because some drivers might not feel comfortable to brake at certain zones compared to you. So as we see, nice clean driving between these drivers right now at the moment. But with that going on, Griffin though is going to be getting a little bit of pressure now from Ellison. He's been closing in.
Yeah, he's not letting him get away. And he's bringing along Zube and Montini with him. They've been just tagging along in the slipstream. A great exit out of Alta by Griffith, though, as they head down towards Ravazza one more time. This is going to be the real critical point for him to get a launch onto this long, long front stretch, Taylor.
Yes, indeed. You have to get a really good exit, especially through the second part of Ravazza, in order to get that good exit speed, in order to either close in or pull away from your competition. And by the looks of it right now, Griffin was able to get a good exit to pull away from Thomas Ellison, though, as they're making their way down towards the Tamburello chicane. Let's see what happens, what Ellison does. As he closes in, looks like Zube gets a good launch, though, as they're coming through. Got to be careful not to go off course, though. And able to recover nicely. Montini still following suit, trying to close the gap, but not able to at this moment.
Boy, he is really keeping him honest, though. Every time Griffith starts to pull away, Ellison reels him back in, and you can see it is down to less than half a second between them. They are starting to pull a gap, though, on Jean-Marc Tremblay behind them. So it is only 4 of these cars. It is no longer a 6-car train trying to fight for this 6th position. And as we watch this, we're not missing anything up at the front. The top 3 are equally split 2 seconds between them. Oh, we've got great action here in 15th. Look at this. Not often you see side-by-side into Acqua Minerale. Takeshi Kita gave it his best, but it looks like Leif Peterson is the braver of the two.
Mr. Where did he come from, Takeshi Kita? He's working his way back up through the field like we always see him do. He's now doing a great job here right now as he's battling it with Leif Peterson coming out of the... Oh, as we see, Peterson gets a little bit loose coming out of Alta chicanes. Let's see right quick. Yeah, Takeshi started in the 21st position, is now inside the top 15, so doing a great job here tonight at Imola.
Takeshi's actually in 16th. He was overtaken by Leif Peterson this last lap, so he's dropped just outside of that top 15, and he might yet lose more because Elijah Bautista just behind him is certainly threatening. And don't forget Mr. Consistency, Aaron Thacker, who's much farther down than we're used to seeing. He tends to finish up in the top 10, but he's nowhere near that today.
Yeah, surprisingly right now, maybe this isn't the right setup he might have for the car, but we're still early on in the race. We still have about 32 minutes left to go in this race, so it's a little bit of time plus a pit stop, so things could change for Mr. Consistency as the race goes on here tonight.
Yep, we usually see drivers able to make it about a third through the race before the pit window opens, which is coming up in roughly 2 minutes here. So we'll see if anybody decides to hop in early. It hasn't usually been the way that it plays out successfully. We've seen lap traffic usually wreak havoc with drivers that come in. So do you think it's worth it at a place like this where it's so hard to pass, Taylor, to try and pull the undercut?
Not this early in the race. Probably will be seeing drivers pitting with probably 15, maybe 10 minutes to go left in the race. At least our first... Oh, it's Thacker! Again, it's a little bit of contact with Bautista coming out of Acqua Minerale, and looks like Bautista is in the wall with some damage, severe damage to the looks of it.
Now, what happened there? Bautista, who's currently sliding all the way down to the very bottom of the order, he's slowed, but oh, you know what? I think he's had hardware problems, because after his incident, he essentially just cruises across the track. He should have held the brake more likely, but watch this.
I just got a little bit of a note. It says that his pedals had just died for a bit, so he was unable to gain any control of the car.
So that explains why he didn't put the brakes on then. Because as he cruised across, you can see there, he nearly got hit by multiple cars. That's usually a big no-no in racing, but I think drivers can excuse that since it was sort of out of his control. Meanwhile, we jump back up to fourth. Federico Montini, the other Montini who hasn't had problems today, as Simon Avital just behind them, number 23, very close and challenging to try and take that fourth away. But they've lost touch with the cars ahead of them, the top three on the podium there, not really looking within sight at the moment.
Going to take a look down at P18 right at this moment.
Danny Duchesne actually being overtaken by Rodrigo Munoz right now. We might want to, there we go, on screen, around the outside of Piratella. That's a hard one to make. Munoz going to survive. And it looks like into Aqua Minerale, he's going to lead the train. But look at this. One mistake is going to be costly, because there's Quint behind him. Duchesne, Peterson, Swaby, and Andrew all waiting for an opportunity.
Yes, indeed. We got a nice train of cars now coming out of the Alta chicanes. You got to be careful also not to go too far out to get that penalty. Duchesne's got a great run right now going underneath Karsten Quint as they're making their way towards Ravazza. Who's going to be the bravest one out of these two? Onto the brakes. Duchesne looks like he's going to get positioned. Lee Peterson coming out of nowhere with a really good late braking opportunity. Swaby's looking forward as we see Quint wash way up off of Ravazza second time now. This gives the opportunity for Peterson to look to the outside right now as they're making their way down the French straightaway towards Tamburello.
Lee Peterson making it look easy with that great exit off of Ravazza, and that moves him up into 19th for now. But man, Karsten Quint having a bad couple of laps. Here goes Lyndon Swaby on by. That is 3 positions, I want to say, lost for the poor number 55 car.
And I don't think it's done yet. Curlin Andrews and that number 12 Ferrari is going to be looking right now as they're going through the Villeneuve chicanes. Gets a great run, but not close enough as they make their run up to Tosa.
Andrew Curlin is toes in anticipation, hoping he can get this pass done on Karsten Quint, but just not a good enough exit. I think the number 55 has got it pulled back together now. And Francisco Montini on his way back forward recently overtook Ellison. Now, is this soon enough? Recent enough that we could get the replay? Looks like yes, we can. This was coming out of Piratella. So here we go. Excellent. Looks like Ellison just a little wide on the exit. Can't get the grip off. And where he cuts the grass a little bit, even he went that far wide. And taking advantage of it, Francisco Montini does not need asking twice. He is now up into 8th. He's currently now trying to chase down James DeZube. Montini qualified in 5th, so he's nearly back to where he began this race. Just 3 more positions.
Yeah, he's going to try his best right now to catch up to DeZube as they're coming out of Tosa down towards the Piratella. Still going to be having a little bit of time to catch up right now. Still, Mike Griffin is leading that train of cars through the Piratella. He goes again. DeZube is trying to close the gap, but unable to at this moment.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've really seen that train of cars split apart. And we are within the pit window now as we jump back down to 18th once again. Peterson leads Swaby, Quint, and Duchesne, as well as many other cars behind them. Up towards Piratella they go. Swaby actually right on the back of Leif Peterson as they both tuck it in down to the apex.
Yeah, these two right on the nose of Swaby's car with the view of Peterson right in front of them. Gets late on the brakes. Look at that view right there. How about that? Thank you, Dougie Beer, for these excellent cameras for us to enjoy as we come out of Aqua Minerale. Just great racing right now, making our way to the Alta chicanes. Right now we see the brake lights lighting up on Leif Peterson's car as Swaby is hunting him down.
Somebody call Freddie Mercury and David Bowie because Peterson is under pressure. And unfortunately for Swaby, not able to do anything coming into Ravazza, but can he get something off of there? Let's stay with this, but just to report, Thomas Ellison has come in for what we believe is a scheduled stop. And coming down the main straight, Leif Peterson is dealing with that pressure quite nicely as he keeps that Porsche at bay behind him. Oh, look at that, late braking and sticks his nose in. I don't think that was ever going to go off, but Lyndon Swaby is feisty right now.
He is very feisty at the moment. I'm looking at Leif Peterson's car, and it looks like he has a little bit of nose damage to the front of the car. Doesn't seem to be affecting him right now, because Swaby is really putting the pressure on him, though.
Didn't we see him get into the back of someone momentarily at one point? I'm trying to remember if we did. I want to say Peterson ran into at least a little problems at some point. Obviously, you're right that doesn't make his day easy coming down the main straight. So we ride on board with Lyndon Swaby. Let's jump away from this because it doesn't seem like Lyndon's able to do anything for the moment. Now, Griffith had managed to pull away here in 6th position from Dzube, but that has changed. It has swung back in favor of the number 28. He's reeled him in to within half a second. But as he's done that, Francisco Montini has also now caught up to the back of him. And remember, Francisco, according to qualifying pace, is a little bit faster than James. So that's bad news for that orange and white car.
Yes, indeed, but it looked like Griffin had a very bad exit out of Tamburello. Dzube, though, is closing right in as they go through the Villeneuve chicanes, go up through the tarmac right there before the sand trap, down into Tosa. Dzube's been slowly reeling him in lap after lap. Montini, though, still watching on, waiting to see in the popcorn position if he can make a position up.
Dzube doing a very good job getting closer and closer. It was 0.6 of a second. Now it is 0.3 of a second between himself and Mike Griffith. But none of them have been able to overtake him since Griffith moved to the front of this group. Well, I take that back. I believe Simon Avatar got by, or did he not? Meanwhile, these three still line astern. Griffith in 6th, Dzube 7th, Montini 8th.
All three of these drivers are quite well. Really good racing between these two. Montini on a little bit of redemption, trying to get back up to where he started at least. Dzube, the Carolina driver, is working his way back as he gets a great run into Ravazza, late into the brakes. Griffith trying to hold on, make sure he gets a good run off of Ravazza. I think he does. He's able to hold him off for another lap.
So we ride on the rear wing of Dzube, looking forward up at Mike Griffith. Coming now to the Tamburello chicane, and this is one of the more popular places to pass, but none of them close enough to one another to really execute there. We are now halfway through this race, hitting that 22-minute mark. Speaking of 22, let's hop to position 22. This is Curlin Andrew, who is ahead of Carl Schwing. Remember, Curlin was working on cars ahead of him, but they have actually stretched away, and look at that, very close within the slipstream. I think Schwing's got a great opportunity, and in fact, he's going to look to the outside to see if he can make this attack the hard way.
Yes, he's going to swing right now to the outside, not able to right now, as it looks like Andrews holds him off through Tamburello, but gets a great exit, though. Gets right back on the back bumper. He's going to look to the inside. Nope, follows suit. As Corey Clark looks on in his Porsche, he's going to stick his nose to the inside. Oh, he hits the curb really hard.
Oh, my goodness. Could we get an onboard replay of that moment from Clark? 4 wheels in the air. That is not the way to take Villeneuve.
That's going to rattle his cage a little bit. He's probably trying to bite his tongue a little bit as well, bumping over those curves.
Yeah, rattled the roll cage, rattled his spine. My goodness. Watch this. Just loses it under braking, sees it coming, and he's just a passenger. He's had to have taken some damage from that. I would think that the under tray of the car is not looking good.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely got some serious damage looking at the car right now.
Ooh, number 06, Francisco Montini. Remember, he was the one working his way back forward. He's taken a stop at almost exactly halfway. And in fact, he should be our highest pitter. Last one was Thomas Ellison, who's currently running 26, but I believe he was well behind the 06. Very quick stop there for Francisco, in and out. We now look at Thomas Ellison, who's coming down the main straight.
And there goes Clark as well. He's just joining it as well. A couple other pitters who have decided to also pit: Lucio Vargas, Takeshi Keita, Nicholas Smeg, and Andrew Spicer as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on see what they're able to do. As Montini's now going. Montini's now got to work his way back up with Danny Duchesne in front of him, as well as Sebastian Macedo.
This is horrible timing for Francisco. Probably with him pitting a little bit earlier than a lot of the other front runners, as he has to squeeze Duchesne a little bit wide to try and make the pass out of Tosa. This is exactly what Francisco did not want. That lost him some time. And up next, he's got to overtake Sebastian Maciera. Then he's got a little bit of clear track ahead of him. Meanwhile, we've got another taker up at the front of the field, Corey Ott, Mike Griffith, both coming into the pits.
Let's keep an eye and see what happens with Corey Ott, as well as Mike Griffith, the Pennsylvania driver and the Australian New Zealand club driver. Short 11-second pit stop, very short. We're kind of wondering, is that going to be enough fuel for the car? Of course, we've seen as Derby and Thacker now are coming in. Derby, the Virginia driver, in 10th position, while Thacker in 12th. Mr. Consistency working his way back up a little bit, just 2 spots away from breaking the top 10.
Interestingly, the shortest stop so far goes to Francisco Montini at 10.3. So if it was too little for what we saw from Ott, then it'll be definitely too little from Montini. In fact, Montini comes back out ahead of Maciera. Excuse me, just barely ahead of Maciera. That returns him in 15th, and with mostly clear track ahead of him.
Yeah, very good job. A little bit of a...
As Corey, we're looking at Corey Ott, but Mike Griffith just had a really bad moment with Jerome Berton. Wonder if we could get a replay. This was in Villeneuve. And Jerome did nothing wrong here, Taylor. You're going to see he's got a good run on him. He's looking to maybe see if he can make the pass because he doesn't want to lose time. But Jerome's not interested in giving this up easily. And he locks the brake up trying to stay out of him.
Yeah, that was no fault at all. That was just a racing incident. Jerome trying to do his best at holding position as Mike Griffith all on the same lap, and this is a battle for position. So I see Jerome did nothing wrong, just racing.
Yeah, now it looks like he's going to get him as they work their way down to Ravazza. Yeah, nice clean pass coming out of Alta. And I can report our leader has just pitted. Karl Modoff has come in and out, and he is ahead of Corey Ott, and it is about the same gap as when Corey went in.
Yeah, both of them did a pretty much close to identical pit stop times. 11.3 by the looks of it for Modoff compared to Ott's 11.1.
Still waiting on the likes of Eisler, Montini, Avatal, Dazubi, Tremblay, and Coffer to come in. So the top 6 still yet to take their scheduled stop, and we are getting towards the end of the window. Remember, we said roughly 30 minutes or so that they could go on these fuel tanks.
Here comes Eisler right now. He is going to go another lap, as well of it, Federico Montini, as well as Simon Abatal. And so far, that's some of our drivers right there. Here comes James DeZube. He's coming out of the Ravazza. Is he going to be making a pit stop? No, he's going to go another lap as well.
Oh, and who was that on track that we saw stopped? That is Andrew Spicer in a bit of an awkward spot. He's going to want to back the car up. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to him. He had a spin in Tamburello, and it was kind of all his own. Got the replay here. This might be quite a while ago. Oh, looks like we found it. Nice job by our director here. Didn't touch the grass or anything, Taylor. It's just a little deep in the corner, and then it snapped on him.
Yeah, that's what it definitely looks like. Andrew Spicer just not able to get control back of the car. Has to now stop on track, so that way he's not to cause any contact with any of the leaders of the race. And it took him quite a while, so he lost tons of time.
Yep, gets it going once again, but you can see he's at dead last on the field now, unfortunately. So let's see if our leader pits this time by, because he's just coming up to pit entry soon. Out of the final two apexes, and he's starting to catch lap traffic. I'm starting to think now is about the right time for Christian to make a pit, and he thinks the same. Here he goes.
Same thing with Montini, and let's see if Abatal will also, same as him. Waiting to see on James DeZube. He's finishing up going through Ravazza.
Wonder if exactly half hour is as far as they can go. Yep, there goes DeZube. So we're seeing a lot of drivers coming in at the same time. Tremblay next in his Porsche. Yep, I'd say this to me says that this is the absolute farthest they can make.
Yep, and here comes Karl Modov. We'll see how quickly if Eisler can get off pit road before Modov is able to get by. It's going to be close, and Modov will...
Oh, no, I don't think it's going to be close at all. He's not even to the pit exit line. Look at how much time they gained on him. Oh, wow. Eisler struggling a little bit for pace compared to the likes of Modov and Ott. Speaking of which, Ott has gained some ground. It was about 2.5 seconds when they exited the pits. It's now 1.2 seconds, Taylor. What a turn of events that Corey Ott, another newcomer, looks like he could be the one to challenge Karl Modov to keep him from taking a championship for the second time.
Well, he's keeping him honest, but he has yet catch him as a little bit of lap traffic causes Modov to check up just a little bit. But this will be an interesting season if these are going to be our main two front runners. And of course, you got to throw in Christian Eisler. He is always going to be someone to be a factor for a championship.
Yeah, but today he is certainly not a factor. It comes out to 7.5 seconds, just to second place. Up to the lead, it's a whole nother 1.5 seconds. So we're looking at a 9-second gap from Modov to Eisler. The Iceman is certainly not hot today, as he is going to have to settle for third unless something dramatic happens to the top two. Back in 6th position, DeZube, who has finished his stop, comes out just ahead of Francisco Montini, and I believe that's who Montini was chasing before he came in for his stop a number of laps before James. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, Montini came in multiple laps before DeZube, making their way down towards the Ravazza again. So difficult to overshoot your braking point through that corner. You think maybe you can brake right at the 50 or just a little bit after, but it turns out that could just cause you to overshoot that corner completely and end up in the gravel pit.
They hit the main straight, and a nice run for DeZube as we got a battle going on behind them. Very different scenario because Jean-Marc Tremblay did not get a good run. Thomas Ellison closing in the slipstream. That Ferrari cuts a nice tiny hole in the air, and he runs out of track by the time they get the braking for Tamburello. Jean-Marc fends him off for now, and he holds just in the middle of the track to try and keep Ellison from getting a good run on him down to Villeneuve. That's going to deny an opportunity for the HJ Motorsports Ferrari.
able to get another opportunity. Gets close enough. He gets late on the brakes through Tosa. Gonna almost dime in the corner coming off of Tosa down this little straightaway before they get to the Piratella. Up the hill they go. Make sure that they hit the right braking mark right now. Don't want to overshoot it. Late on the brakes as we see Ellison close it in a little bit more on Jean-Marc down to Acqui Mineral.
Yeah, Acqui Minerale, not one of the places that you can easily pass, and the driver behind them knows that, but Alex Crawford, he has reeled in his teammate Thomas Ellison as Jean-Marc Tremblay continues to fend off the attack. And now he's got to deal with two blue and yellow cars, eager to move into ninth position past him. Wow, very defensive into Rivazza.
Yeah, that was very defensive indeed from Jean-Marc, as it looks like he might have got a little loose, but let's see what they're doing. The teammates might work together to get by Jean-Marc. If Crawford can get a little bit closer, now Ellison's closing in a little bit more. Let's see what he's going to do. He's going to look to the inside. Oh, so close. Goes right onto the curbing. Let's see who breaks first going into Tamburello. It looks like Jean-Marc will give over the position. But we could see an undercut crossover coming out of Tamburello, and I don't think he's going to be able to make it. This gives now Crawford the chance. Ooh, a little bit of defensive for Jean-Marc. As contact. Oh! Still more contact as they come through there.
Both of them skitter into the gravel, and they return in the positions they were. They're each going to get a slowdown penalty. Oh, but less of a slowdown penalty for Alex Crawford into Tosa. He sticks his nose in and says, if you're going to play hard, I'm going to give no quarter. He finally takes that 10th position away from Jean-Marc Tremblay. Aggressive fighting here in Italy going on.
Yes, indeed. The Ferrari, the Porsche, down to Acqui Minerale. They are going again. Jean-Marc not able to close the gap right now. Oh, as Crawford looks like he's going to cut the course. That's going to cost him, give the position back to Jean-Marc.
Got to be clean on these corners, especially out of Acqui Minerale. And I'm sure Jean-Marc Tremblay smiling a little bit after that one, but they're still stuck together. This battle is not over. They've allowed Thomas Ellison to streak away in that 9th spot, so he is no longer concerned with his teammate and his rival. You can see that gap already up to 2.5 seconds.
We're going up
battle.
The pace.
Yeah, going on for 6 here. Federico Montini, Francisco Montini, excuse me. Yeah, both Montinis are next to each other now, trying to hold off to Zube. But it looks like actually there must have been a mistake from Montini, because maybe he was trying to get by to Zube. Or actually, no, maybe did he just make the pass? He must have made the pass, and within a lap here. Looks like we got the replay. Let's see exactly where this happened. We're trying to watch it for so long. Here's Francisco. Well, he's already ahead of him here in this replay. All right, here we go. Just got a good slipstream down the pit straight. He was given the inside into Tamburello. It was fought hard under braking, but it was not to be, as Dzube had to give up the ghost.
And Joe, if you look at it right now, the track is a little bit cloudy. A little bit of shade has come upon the track, thanks to the new updates that we've seen here. Oh, as we see Montini.
Federico Montini trying to get it back on track, but he's losing tons and tons of time. It was Francisco who made the mistake early. It's Federico who makes the mistake late. His fellow Montini streams on by, and as that happens, look at the battle happening between them. That is Dzube looking like he's going to lose another spot. The 117 of Mike Griffith with a good run. It is a repeat of what we saw with Montini down into Tamburello. Can Mike Griffith hold him off? He swings back to try and block the line heading through Tamburello. Mike Griffith moves up to 6th.
If you notice, Dzube decided to go a little bit late earlier on the braking to maybe try and close in coming off corner exit, which almost did work, but Griffith saw that coming and decided to throw the block.
seen multiple cars use that successfully, try to fend off that over-under move heading through the first chicane. So I'm thinking the order of the day for these GTE cars is to not try to pull that move because it hasn't really worked for anybody out there. Meanwhile, let's go back up to the leaders because Corey Ott is the closest he's been all race long. The number 9 is less than a second back from Karl Modov. He has been chasing him down, but what we haven't seen is anybody good enough to attack and successfully pass the number 48.
Corey Ott definitely has the speed. He ran a 38.65 compared to Modov's 38.72. Let's see. Oh, late on the braking. Going through Tamburello. It looks like, though, Modov got a good exit coming out of Tamburello. Down towards Villeneuve they go. Modov doing a really good job of holding off Ott.
Yeah, he was a little bit sloppier than what we're used to seeing. And in fact, wasn't very clean through Villeneuve either. It cost him even more time. It was down to less than half a second. Now it's gone all the way back up to 9/10. So the Club Australia-New Zealand driver made all kinds of ground and then just threw it away in about one lap.
And that can be definitely easily happen here at tracks such as Imola. Up through Acqua Minerale they go.
A little bit farther down in 10th place, Jean-Marc Tremblay has Alex Crawford all over the back of him. Crawford looks to the inside. Remember, that's where they touched last time heading into Villeneuve. He swings back to the outside as a defensive move from Jean-Marc Tremblay into Tosa. There's a car off track in the form of Andrew Spicer. I don't think we need to go to that. He is just letting lap cars go by. Up the hill, Jean-Marc Tremblay gives the inside to Alex Crawford, but it's not enough braking for these GTE cars, and the HJ Motorsports Ferrari still can't make his way by Jean-Marc Tremblay.
Really great racing between these two. Little under 5 minutes to go as we see a little bit of lap traffic up in front of them. This could be a little bit of a factor as they make their way down towards the Alta chicanes. Car in front of them, Nick Meg cuts the course.
Yeah, Nick tries to stay out of the way, and he doesn't brake enough, so he just blows the corner to let them through.
And that could have messed up Jean-Marc's focus right there because Alexander Crawford's going to take the position. But Jean-Marc gets late on the brakes through Ravazza. This is really great racing. He was really not wanting to give that up.
Both of these guys are giving a spirited effort, and it's not done yet. Look at this. Jean-Marc's got a much better run down the front stretch. Crawford's got to be thinking, how do I shake this guy? How do I make this pass stick? As the inside goes to the Porsche. The Canadian has a great run, but they're side by side into the braking. Who's going to be better through this? Oh, they come together for a second time this race, and Crawford disappears. That, to me, says we just saw a DQ driver as, wow, back across the track. That was not a great move for Jean-Marc.
And look at this. Here comes Aaron Thacker, Mr. Consistency, getting both of those positions, putting him back into the top 10.
Clearly runs into them. Let's watch the replay there of the coming together. This is Jean-Marc and Crawford. Door-to-door contact. Oh, you know what? I think a little bit of the curb to the inside from Tremblay just sent the car sliding into his rival. Crawford not happy. He's getting on the chat with some stern words. So Jean-Marc gets back going once again, but in 11th now is Thacker, as we see live, has managed to get by. What are the Montinis? They've swapped places. I'm going to make sure I don't screw this up again. Federico is now farther behind. Francisco is the one fighting with Mike Griffith, who gets a fantastic run coming out of Ravazza here.
Yeah, and he's getting a great run down the pit straight. Looks like Montini's going to take a defensive line, though, towards Tamburello. He's going to go later in the braking. Griffith's going to try to see if he can maybe... Oh, as it looks like he hits the curve a little bit too much. Montini does. So that caused Griffith to have to check up just a little bit so that way he doesn't run into the back of him. Down towards the Villeneuve chicanes they go. Griffith has to check up even more as he almost ran into the back bumper of Montini again, and Montini able to break away towards Tosa.
Francisco got a little brave with those sausage curbs, but he got away with it this time. Don't look now, though, because here comes James Dzube behind them. If they start fighting, this is going to be a three-way battle for a top 5 position, and we've only got a minute and a half left on the clock. Time has flown here in the first round.
Well, the old saying goes, time flies when you're having fun, and we are having excellent fun racing here tonight as we see, Federico cuts the course coming out of Acqui Mineral.
I don't think he quite cut the course because he didn't get a slowdown there. As we take a look, and I think the white flag just came out for our leader. So let's stay with this. Karl Modoff leading by less than a second over Ott. They just lapped James LeBlanc, who we saw there, letting them go by. We're on board with Corey now. What can he do with the Club West driver?
Couple of turns to make this count right now coming out of Tosa. He's still got Piratella and Acqua Minerale to try to see if he can close the gap. But at first he got to still pass him after he catches him. Up to Piratella they go. Modoff still being consistent, running his race, running against the track, doing what he needs to do like he did last season here at Imola.
Yep, he was our winner last time, where we started to see him come to the fore. But let's stay with the leader all the way to the end here, just in case, because Karl Modoff has scant room to make a mistake here at the end. Corey Ott pressuring him. I did not expect him to be able to catch him like he did as the race progressed. They've got a little bit of traffic up ahead, but I don't think it should come into play. One more apex to go. That's all he's got to do. Karl Modoff gets a good run, and as he comes to the line, he starts off this championship with the best possible result. Karl Modoff wins here in Imola. Meanwhile, side-by-side action between Montini and Griffith. Griffith a little bit wide, tries to come back onto the track. Montini has the momentum going back in his favor, and just behind them, James Dzube now coming into the equation. He might go into the attack down into Ravazza. He gives it a try, but it's just not quite enough. Francisco Montini is not out of the woods. Here comes Griffith, trying to get himself a good launch, and it is a good launch. He has the slipstream, but is it enough? They come to the line. Can Mike Griffith get him? It's going to be awful close. Montini just gets it at the line. Montini takes 5th, Griffith 6th, and Dzube 7th. As the rest of the cars stream in behind them, we don't have too many battles. The closest we've got is really 16th. I guess we're watching Thacker there cross the line there in 15th. As we jump back to Vargas, he's trying to stay away from Karsten Quinth, as well as chase Rodrigo Munoz here as they come around Ravazza. This is for 15th, 16th, and 17th. Looks like there's going to be no change for position there, so let's jump back now to Carl Schwing and Leif Peterson for a top 20 finish. This is for mostly pride between these two drivers. I think Schwing's going to get it over the number 13. With that, that is the last cars on the lead lap. We're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, and stick around because we've got all the upcoming races here on the GSRC coming your way. Welcome back here to Imola. It was a very fun first round here for PRL in this new season, the American iRacing Tuesday Series. But picking off where he left off, Karl Modoff is going to make another run for the championship, it looks like, because he won here today, repeating his victory from last season. Corey Ott, though, his rookie season, I believe, here in this series, and he took second, having started third. Christian Eisler did the reverse. His teammate, he started in second, went back down to third. Just didn't have the pace and never really was a factor for the win here today. Fourth goes to Simon Avital. You want to talk about an anonymous race. He fell a little bit backwards. We didn't really pay attention to him, but he started from sixth and just cruised his way onto fourth. But still a great race. Francisco Montini had to recover from his early problem, and that got him a fifth, having started fifth. Mike Griffith, he got sixth place with some great battling there at the end. Almost got up to fifth past Montini, but it was not to be. Dzube has proved to be an exciting driver to watch, finishing seventh here today. And Federico Montini kicking himself a little bit. He could have had a top five, but he settles for eighth position. Thomas Ellison, he finishes ninth with another HJ Motorsports driver, rounding out our top 10 in Aaron Thacker.
Finishing in 11th position is the 927 Porsche of Jean-Marc Tremblay, followed by Cristobal Valenzuela in 12th position. Michael Derby will come home in the 13th position, followed by Lyndon Swaby in 14th. Rodrigo Munoz will come home in 15th position, followed by Lucio Vargas in 16th. Karsten Quinn will come home in the 17th position, followed by Sebastian Masseria in 18th. Jerome Berthiaume will come home in 19th, followed by Carl Schwang in 20th position.
21st goes to Leif Peterson, and Takashi Kita unfortunately didn't get to do his usual climb forward. He goes back one position to 22nd, and the first car a lap down. James LeBlanc finishes in 23rd. He had a little bit of contact early, but managed to continue. 24th goes to Hugo Galaz, with Kerlin Andrew coming 25th. Elijah Bautista finishes 26th position, and Jeff Jacobson 27th. Then 28th goes to Nick Schmeg, with Danny Duchesne finishing 29th. Corey Clark comes home P30 with Justin Hall 31st. Alex Cofford, one of our few cars to get DQ'd there in 32nd. And Andrew Spicer didn't have the best of races today. He certainly had to get out of the way a lot. He finishes 6 laps down in 33rd. And with that, I believe we have Karl Modoff ready to talk to us, our winner here at Imola today. Karl, this is a very good result to start on. You don't have Jesper here to fight with. You don't have Ben to fight with. You got to be feeling pretty good. Oh, and we can't hear you, Karl. You're going to have to switch your mic over so that you've got the right one selected. Wait for him to get that all hooked up. The number 48 certainly had a lot of pressure here today. Let's give this one more try. Well, still can't quite hear you, Karl. So we'll wait for him to get his mic figured out. So in the meantime, we've got Simon with us. This is Simon Avital, our 4th place finisher. Taylor is going to be talking to him.
Right here with Simon Abital, driver here tonight, finishing in the 4th position. Simon, excellent debut here for us tonight. Tell us what you thought about racing at Imola, as well as the competition here tonight.
It was fantastic, man. You know what, the the nerves were certainly there. Lap 1 through like lap 15 or so, but then started to calm down a little bit. Never done something like this, so it was great to race at Imola. I typically do pretty good here, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out. But really fun race. Me and Federico had some good times on those initial laps. So yeah, really fun. And then was kind of surprised to pass him in the pits. Not really sure what happened, but it was a pleasant surprise.
All right. Well, one of the things I wanted to ask about, some of the fans were asking about, is not a lot of fuel conservation was going on. So were there any really fuel conservation, or are you just waiting to get to that certain number and then come into pit?
I honestly wish I could say I was that decent. No, I just watch JRT and like a robot. I pit when it tells me to pit, and I have crew chief also telling, like I double up, and so yeah, I'm more like a robot than thinking. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that was still an excellent job. A good way to kick off the season. Tell me, what are one of the tracks that you're looking forward to this season?
I'm really interested in Barber. That'll be really fun. I've really, except for some racing with some buddies here and there, and some just funny cars. I've never really raced there, so I'm looking forward to learning the track and competing at it. That'll be.
We look forward to seeing you racing at Barber, Simon. Again, congratulations on your 4th place debut here at Imola and with the PRL, and looking forward to seeing what you can do the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys, and thank you guys so much for all your hard work. It's truly, truly appreciated. PRL as well. You guys are awesome. Thank you for putting all this on. It's really appreciated by.
And we thank you for coming out. And Joe, I think maybe Carl might have got his mic fixed. Let's see what happens.
Yep, Carl, do you have a copy? Oh, we heard myself coming through, but we didn't quite hear you, Carl. Let's try one more time. Oh, doesn't look like Carl's mic is quite working still, unfortunately. So sad to see, since Carl had such a good race. But let's talk to Corey Ott, 2nd place driver. Corey, great job catching up to Carl, but it seemed like you didn't quite have enough pace in the car to take that first away in the end.
Oh, the start of the race was a good thing I had push to talk on in the PRL Discord, because I was screaming a bit. The tyre wear wasn't to my favour, and then after the stop, somehow the tyres got back to me, so I started catching up to Carl and kept catching, and then I got the elusive slowdown that Imola always gives you, and the whole race I was doing the exact same line. Luckily I didn't get it, and then the point where I didn't want to get it, I finally got it. So then after that I just try to not hit the incident cap after the, I think, 20 off tracks I had during the whole race, and I got within a second of him, but sadly it was the last lap. So yeah, other than that, it was a really good race.
So one of the questions that we had asked in the chat that I find curious as well, because I didn't think about it during the race. Last year seemed to be all about fuel saving. I don't know if you watched last season. This first race, I don't think we saw anybody fuel saving out there. Did that surprise you? Were you aware of how things were last year?
I didn't really hear about any fuel saving in any of the GTE series, but really surprising to hear that. But no, this race was a full bore sprint race from start to finish. I didn't know fuel saving whatsoever, and just at the stop, I stopped 3 laps early trying to get the undercut, but Carl did catch nose and fit the next lap, so that cut that one in half. But no, it was all about the pace you had on the track, not your fuel strategy in the pits. So.
And we see that you hail from the Australia-New Zealand club. I'm assuming it's early in the morning over there on Wednesday. Where exactly are you from?
I'm about a 2-hour drive southwest from Brisbane. So yeah, it's actually 1:18 in the afternoon. So it's a really good series. This is for time-wise. So.
Well, that works out perfect for you. We're excited to see what you can give Carl the rest of the season, because you two certainly seem to be the top of the class right now, at least after round 1. Congratulations on a podium, and look to see you next year in 2018, or 2019 rather.
It's all right, guys. Thanks for that.
That was Corey Ott, our 2nd place finisher here today. 3rd place finisher was Christian Eisler. Taylor's going to talk to him.
Yes, indeed. We're here with the Iceman, Christian Eisler, finishing 3rd tonight. Christian, it looks like you were on a good race for tonight, but seemed a little bit off pace compared to our 2 front runners of Modoff and Ott. Tell us how the car felt and how you were able to try and hold on to at least that 3rd position.
Yeah, thank you. I feel good with the car. I think Carl and Corey has a better pace than me. I try to be consistent all the race. I think I do, but I was far. They are faster than me today.
Understood on that. And we're getting close. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break. We won't be back till 2019 with this rest of the season. Tell us what your track you're looking most forward to this season as we're closing in.
Oh, this season will be tough. Caris is a very good driver. Corey too. I liked the schedule this season. I like the track this season. Barber, the next one is very nice track. I think I could be competitive this season. I don't know if I will win, but I will try. I will try.
Yeah, that was the next question I was going to ask. With Perez and Jerlicka not in this season, do you think you could finally take the top spot and win the championship?
I don't know. Always is another driver very fast and faster than me. Corey, my teammate, is a very fast driver. I race with him in other official races, and he's very fast. And Carl is a very tough competitor. Montini brothers too, and I think two more drivers don't show up tonight. Jorge Flores and another one could be very dangerous drivers for the championship.
Yeah, we look forward to watching you come out through this season. Looking forward to seeing you in Barber in a couple of weeks' time. And again, congratulations on your third place finish here at Imola.
Thank you guys.
And that's going to be it for today. Really disappointed we didn't get to talk to Carl. We'll hope that he gets his mic sorted out before our next race. Again, if you've been following this race, you're watching it on the iRacing eSports Network. Make sure and subscribe to them because they have all kinds of great racing here. We'll talk about the next one coming up in just a moment. Before that, we also want to thank the Simulation MotorSports Association. You can find them at SIMMSA.net if you want to check them out. They sponsor the whole season here for PRL for the second time in a row. So we are incredibly grateful to them here at GSRC. Thanks to all the organizers at the Precision Racing League for putting this thing on. And thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Taylor, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Now, the next race here on IESN is Cater's Final Ride. That'll be 8:45 p.m. Eastern. I'll actually get to be on that one as well. I'm looking forward to it. Kind of an emotional race, honestly, for a lot of the community. For a memorial for David Cater. And the next race for us on GSRC, though, is, of course, a PRL. That'll be Barber Tuesday, January 8th. Or excuse me, here on the PRL. That'll be Barber Tuesday, January 8th. Next time we return at 9 p.m. Eastern for this series. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar if I can get my script right here at the end. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.